Welcome back to season 1 of Conversations with Helen King. Nice for you to join us again. Thank you so much. In my work, and perhaps in yours too, we've talked in the past about there's really 5 areas that all of our issues or problems or challenges seem to fall into: health, wealth or prosperity, relationships, career or full self-expression, and spirituality, our connection with God or the divine or higher power. Throughout our previous episodes, we've talked about relationships, and we talk about your connection to spirit in almost every episode because that's so important. Today, in episode 7, we're going to talk about our health. So I'm going to pose the question to you: what is sickness?
Sickness is whenever you negate your true self. Whenever you do things that are not in your best interest. You're your own primary care physician. You're your own dietitian. You're your own lawyer. You're your own accountant. You are the one that's in charge of your life, all aspects of it. You ask other people for insights and information. However, you're the one that makes all the choices. Are you making good choices? Whenever you're doing something that is not in your best interest, it directly affects your energy field. And I call that who you are. And depending on what it is, it seems like different parts of our body reflect that. And you look to the function of that part of your body, what it's doing, and it'll give you a good idea of what's not working in your life. And so when I take good care of myself, I am eating good food. I'm getting rest, proper rest. I'm drinking enough fluids. I'm getting out in nature. Nature is so healing. I'm surrounding myself with people who I love and cherish. And all of those things contribute to our health. That's our physical health, our emotional health, our mental health. Why would I want to be around someone who continually negates my efforts, is into criticism big time, provides food that I don't want to eat? We sabotage ourselves. So it's like looking at our lives and seeing what isn't working, what isn't functioning, and then making choices to get back to that place.
I like how you talked about professionals being more of advisors rather than directors in your life.
I fired a lot of dentists and doctors and so forth when they did not have my best interest in mind. Like if a doctor orders a test and so forth, I ask myself, is that for my benefit or his benefit? Or her benefit, whatever. And oftentimes it's not in my best interest. I've gone through a lot of tests that were not in my best interest. I've had a lot of x-rays that were not in my best interest. And so I take charge. And I recently had to get a new personal care physician because mine retired. And I went in stating who I am and what I expected, and it was exceptionally well received. He could tell that I was taking charge of my life, and he was there as an advisor and did suggest a couple of things, and I said, okay. And I heard him saying, I just had an 89-year-old woman, and was so pleased to have an intelligent patient. So patient, we have to look, sometimes we're too patient with standing up for ourselves.
I find a wonderful question to ask someone who is recommending that I have a test or a procedure of some kind. I ask them, is there any other way
Yes,
that we could do this? And what will happen if I don't have that?
yes, me too. And I sometimes will say, what do you expect to learn from this? Because oftentimes my inner self knows exactly what the situation is, and I can tell them. I did have a doctor that would ask me when prescribing medication, will your body handle this? And oftentimes I'd say no, no, until we'd go down the list. Till I've been sicker from medication than I have from the illness.
Yeah.
And so I'm not up to listening to all the advice that I'm given. So I will run it through my checker, so to speak. So,
Right.
and you can too. Be your own advocate. It's nice to have another who will be, but we must advocate for ourselves.
Especially with medications, there's so many
Oh,
out
yes.
there, and we
Yes.
find people continuing to have medications that cure the disease but kill the patient.
Yes. Yes. And I want to look at the side effects. And when I look at side effects, I understand everybody doesn't have the side effects, but when I look and say, wait a minute, I'm going to put up with this little thing rather than having to deal with something big. So your body, ask your body what it needs. That's what I do. Body, what do you want? And I'll see a picture, or I'll get a color, or I'll think I smell something, and when I go to the grocery store, the first time I tried this, I wanted tomatoes. So I walked up to the display and I said, okay, who wants to go home with me? It was me. And I said, whoa, wrong question. Which tomato is a good one for me? So I put my hand over it until I get an inner yes. And that's the way I buy fruit and vegetables. I just bought strawberries. I just bought a nice cantaloupe, and they're always good.
I just love that practice that you have about, it's not that we don't know it, but we think of still, I think sometimes of just not including God or prayer or our intuition throughout the day.
Yes.
And no one has to know what you're doing there. You know, everyone else squeezes fruit and smells it, so why wouldn't you do something like
I
that?
just put my hand over until I get a yes.
It can be less messy too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And once in a while I get something and I'll say, how did this happen? I didn't ask. I just picked. And so the more specific, I'll go down the aisles and I'll say, do you want this? Do you want this? And usually it's no, no. I keep thinking I should buy cottage cheese, and every time I ask, it's no. So I don't buy it. But then I will say that sometimes I'll say, sorry, body, my mouth wanted that.
So you're still making the decisions.
Yes.
So let's move back to health, the portion of health about sickness, disease. There are diseases out there, conditions that people have, and Ernest Holmes always said, we don't deny the disease or the problem, we deny its need to exist or continue. So what do you do for someone who, or say to someone who has a problem physically that they've been going through for so many years?
Sometimes people are willing to adjust to it. And this happened to me, and I will continue doing things. Other times people say there's a solution to this, and I'm going to find it. And so if I had that, I would say I want the truth. If I'm wrong and whatever it is, my attitude, my belief, I will start researching. I'll start talking to people and listening, and whatever feels right. You get a knowing within yourself when something feels right. Well, then try that. un, un, until you go, your pathway doesn't go, psst, it's try this, look over here, how about up here? I find that when you're sincere about what you want and you are willing to take the time and make the effort, the information comes to you. It can come in so many, there are many messengers. And so you stop, look, and listen to lots of people and what you read, and there, when it's to work, it will work.
What about the skeptics? For example, I had a client recently, we were working on a particular physical healing problem that they were going through. And the response that I got was, well, if that's really true, then why do you wear glasses?
Well, I have 20/20 vision without my glasses. I have astigmatism and haven't been able to cure that. But I do have 20/20 vision. And so it's just easier to wear them and than to put them off and on doing different things.
That was my similar response, actually. I said, you know, there are ways of having perfect vision that I've researched and read about, and quite frankly, it's not on the top of my list.
Well, I remember asking Spirit in regard to some situation, illness, can I cure this? And the answer was yes, but it'll take a lot of time and effort for where you are in your awareness. And so accept the scientific help. And so that's a good response, I think.
You've used a word twice now, at least twice that I've counted, and I want you to discuss that with regard to another word. And the word that I'm talking about is cure. So would you talk about the difference in your mind, if there is one, between a cure and a healing?
Healing to me is done at the energetic level. Everything is energy. And whenever it's not flowing well, that's whenever you have a disease or whatever we want to call it. And so when you're in flow with universal energy, you're healthy. And whenever you have a thought that's off base, that'll remind you that you have a thought that's off base. Or you can have an accident, a fall, fire or whatever. That can disrupt your energy flow, and then you need to do things to put it back together. But the body will heal itself. And sometimes our bodies suffer at the dictatorship of our mind. And so our mind says, this is the way it has to be. And the body says, oh no, not again. And so we need to continually monitor our thoughts to see if they are on target. And I guess I'd look at cure as our science saying that this will cure this will cure that. Sometimes you don't have to ingest things to get the energy from it. And you can, one of the best ways you know that is walking out in nature. Walking on the sand by the ocean. There's all kinds of energy there that's healthy and balanced, and your body is like a sponge just soaking it up and saying, ooh, I need that. Oh, thank you so much. If you're in an area of pollution, you go to a mountaintop and you say, oh, body says, thank you so much, I needed that. So simple things, get our energy vitalized.
Excellent.
And
Thank
so
you for sharing your thoughts on this. We'll see you at the next episode.
It's my job.